to the Canadian Wildlife Channel. My name is Mike Donovan. Is trophy hunting ethical and moral? Trophy hunting is the killing of wildlife primarily to obtain its trophy as a souvenir. The following are 12 common practices of trophy hunting. First one is called canned hunting and tranquilizing. This is actually practiced by the trophy hunting industry. This is a practice whereby wildlife is born into captivity and habituated to human beings. Once the wildlife is old enough, trophy hunters enter a high fenced enclosure where the wildlife is kept and simply shoot the wildlife where it stands. There have been actual instances where the wildlife has even been tranquilized to make it easier for the trophy hunter to kill their prize within a fenced enclosure. North Americans might be surprised to learn that although canned hunting is very big business in the country of South Africa in particular, there are canned hunting operations in existence in both Canada and United States. So another common practice of trophy hunters is known as proximity hunting. This is a practice whereby trophy hunters hunt in areas adjacent to eco-tourist areas and park areas where the wildlife has a diminished fear of humans. Another practice is something called flushing. This is a practice whereby locals are paid to go into the bush and flush out the wildlife into the open towards the trophy hunters, who then kill the wildlife as it exits its cover. Another example of flushing has occurred whereby helicopters are used to flush the wildlife into the open. This has been used on a number of occasions, particularly in Africa. Another practice for trophy hunting is what's called helicopter hunting. This is actually where you actually shoot the wildlife from the helicopters. And in fact, some governments, including the Alberta government, kill wolves with the helicopter hunting method, as it's a cheaper method of wildlife game management than is reforestation. And then they sell the pelts off as trophy parts to have somebody adorn their jacket or whatever with the wolf fur. Okay, another method practiced by trophy hunters is something known as baiting and luring. Now, baiting and luring consists of using food, salt, or scents to attract wildlife into the open for an easy kill, like shooting fish in a barrel. Another practice by trophy hunters is something called bleeding out. This is a practice whereby once the wildlife has been shot, it's not put out of its misery with a shot to the head, because they don't want the trophy to be have a hole in it if it's the head. So they let it bleed out, slow and painful death, so that the trophy is left intact. Another practice by trophy hunters is shooting from a very long distance or using a low-powered rifle whereby the wildlife is likely to be only wounded and will likely run away without being finished off, and probably will go off and die in the bush maybe days later before it actually succumbs to the bullet or the arrow. Again, this is a practice that is practiced by trophy hunters. Another practice that's coming into vogue is something known as sniper technology, where they have these big long-range powered rifles that they use in war for snipers. They're fitted with, big scopes, and the technology allows someone to be very accurate from a very long distance. And now trophy hunters are taking this same technology to hunt wildlife, which is completely unfair. That wildlife has to be killed in this fashion. Another practice is nighttime hunting. You just go out at night, shine your lights into the eyes of wildlife, and they are frozen, and you just simply shoot them. Real nice way to shoot wildlife. Another practice practiced by trophy hunters, and we have evidence to substantiate this, is poaching. A lot of poaching is actually done by trophy hunting operations who use the trophy hunting operation as a cover for poaching and also for illegal import and export of animal parts. And poaching is rampant. Just so you know, last year there was 11 grizzly bears poached in Alberta alone in 2016. Another practice by trophy hunters that doesn't get coverage by the media is the fact that a lot of trophy hunting is done on threatened and endangered wildlife. Our trophy hunters also tend to hunt the premier specimens, thereby causing genetic harm to the species. They always want to hunt the best, the biggest. Trophy hunters also have a tendency to focus on the mature animals, justifying that because they're older animals that they're not really required in their herds. But in fact, it's been found, mature animals, when you kill them off, cause infanticide within the species. There's a lot of behavioral problems in the younger specimens, especially the bulls, when the older males and older mature animals are killed off. There's also a loss of herd leadership when you kill off the mature animals. The older animals are the ones that know the routes for migrations and so on, and by killing off the mature animals, you're cutting out the leadership. Another thing that trophy hunters do is they hunt in ecologically sensitive areas. Another thing that trophy hunters do is they'll hunt in areas where wildlife counts are fudged, where local politicians have been bribed, and where there's no benefit to any of the locals. This happens quite a bit in Africa. And trophy hunters will knowingly go into these areas, knowing that these politicians are being bribed, and that the wildlife counts that are provided by the governments are fudged. Trophy hunters waste a lot of the meat. Much of the meat from trophy hunting is often discarded as unfit for human consumption, or is just left there simply it's considered to be too heavy to carry out of the bush. So those are some of the practices by trophy hunters. So you decide, based on the common practices of trophy hunters that have been described above, would you say that trophy hunters are ethical and moral people?